Through the haze, global watchmen lighten up the maze. They don't flinch, they don't fold, digging deep, breaking the mold. True patrol on digital ground, every whisper, every sound. Hey, eyes on the truth, no turning away. Global watchmen shining through the gray. From the shadows to the screen, they decode what the silence means. Click subscribe, let the veil be torn. This is the news we've been waiting for. Turning away, global watchmen leading the way. Every story, every thread, for the living and the misled. Raise your voice, let the signal soar. This is the news we've been waiting for.
I don't have to tell you things are bad. Everybody knows things are bad. It's a depression. Everybody's out of work or scared of losing their job. The dollar buys a nickel's worth. Banks are going bust. Shopkeepers keep a gun under the counter. Punks are running wild in the street, and there's nobody anywhere who seems to know what to do, and there's no end to it. We know the air is unfit to breathe, and our food is unfit to eat. We sit watching our TVs while some local newscaster tells us that today we had 15 homicides and 63 violent crimes, as if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad. They're crazy. It's like everything everywhere is going crazy, so we don't go out anymore. We sit in the house, and slowly the world we're living in is getting smaller, and all we say is, please, at least leave us alone in our living rooms. Let me have my toaster and my TV and my steel-belted radios, and I won't say anything. Just leave us alone. Well, I'm not going to leave you alone. I want you to get mad. I don't want you to protest. I don't want you to riot. I don't want you to write to your congressman because I wouldn't know what to tell you to write. I don't know what to do about the depression and the inflation and the Russians and the crime in the street. All I know is that first, you've got to get mad. You've got to say, I'm a human being. My life has value.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody, and welcome to Global Watchman News. My name is Lori Swan. Hope you guys are all doing well. If you're in the live chat, we do this to keep it family friendly. There will be moderators in there to make sure that we stay within the terms of service put forth to us by the platform we're utilizing tonight. If you're new to the channel, which I see there's a lot of you, welcome. Take a minute, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell, so you know when we go live. So tonight, guys, tonight is going to be a pretty heavy topic, and I do want to start with a prayer. Heavenly Father, we come before you in the name of Jesus, seeking your divine protection. You are our refuge and our fortress, a shield against all evil. We ask that you surround us, our families, our homes, with a hedge of protection. We command your angels to guard us in all ways. I pray that your strength stands firm and that I stand firm in your truth, and your peace fills my heart, replacing any fear or anxiety. We break every scheme of the enemy to keep us safe from harm, both seen and unseen. And we thank you for being our protector. And we say these things in the name of Jesus. Amen. So like I said, tonight is going to be a pretty heavy topic. Something that Robbie and I have talked about for a long time. We talked about it back when Pizzagate was a thing. We were attacked by a lot of people on social media for telling us that it was fake, that we were spreading misinformation. We got punished by YouTube. Periodically, they would send out their censors and we would lose channels. We lost an entire channel because of Pizzagate. We were threatened with a lawsuit by the pizza shop owner in Washington, D.C. We continued to put that truth out, regardless of the people that tried to silence us. We covered the Podestas. You guys remember when in 2016, when WikiLeaks dropped the emails, we got the Podesta emails. We saw the artwork in their home. We saw that there was 3 people around the area where Madeline McCann disappeared. Those 3 people looked like the 2 Podesta brothers and Ghislaine Maxwell. We saw a lot of things that were revealed then. If you guys remember, Jeff Lehman, who's no longer with us, but he came on our show a lot. He would send me files that I would download on my computer, pictures and stuff just to share. Showtime would come along and file was gone. He would try to send it back, send it again to me, and lo and behold, it was off of his computer too. So these things we've been talking about for a long time, and when you get verification, or validation, when you get that validation, it's both bittersweet. I mean, it vindicates us knowing that we spoke the truth, or we knew we spoke the truth, but now other people know we spoke the truth. But in the same sense, as with a lot of things, I don't want to be right. I don't want it to be true. And this is one of those topics. This is one of the topics that I wish I wasn't right about. And what's crazy is that of all the shocking things that human beings can do to each other, nothing quite alarms, terrifies, disgusts, and unfortunately intrigues like cannibalism. From childhood, we steep ourselves in fairy tales of like Hansel and Gretel escaping the witch's oven, or Jack avoiding the fate of becoming the giant's bread. We tell ourselves grown-up fairy tales about cannibals too, from The Silence of the Lambs to Sweeney Todd to Rocky Horror Picture Show. South Park episodes portrayed it, and Shakespeare plays inspired it. It's taboo unlike any other, one that goes to the root of our most primal fears, the fear not just of death, but something more horrible beyond that, the fear of becoming someone else's meat, and the fear of the cannibal within. there's any doubt of cannibalism's fervent hold upon populations or popular imagination, look no further than the bizarre onslaught of recent news stories on the subject. In the span of just a few days, we see the headlines dominated with things pertaining to cannibalism. Most of them are not true. I did a little bit of digging into the Ellen DeGeneres claim. Could not find that. If anybody has proof of that, I would love for you to send that to me. I would need the file number for that. Also, Leonardo DiCaprio. Now, I'm not saying that they don't participate in this. I'm just saying that, you know, the things that have been going on social media. The one with Ellen DeGeneres is about how she ate Anne Heche after she passed away. I'm not saying that Ellen's not one of them, because we know damn well she is. But what I'm saying is we have to be careful when we make claims on social media, because unfortunately, people will run with it. You know, we need to keep our integrity up when it comes to putting out information. We need to make sure that we vet it and verify it, and not just verify it with a couple of sources. And although, look, I'm guilty of this too. I will look at something and I will see who posted it. And if it's a person that I'm close to, or if it's a person, you know, I'm like, I don't need to check that because I trust that person. Don't trust anything. Check it for yourself. Because that way, if anything comes back on you, you can come with receipts. That's what I always say. Come with the receipts. We're fascinated by anything that reveals our shadow side. And Delmar, who's a psychologist and Psychology Today blogger, Dr. Leon Seltzer, he says any subject that's taboo, and he says cannibalism may speak to a particular resonant shadow side. One central theme of cannibalism is aggression. Behind this aggression is a whole lot of anger and frustration. And today is a time when there's a great deal of anger out there, and outrageous acts where the id, or the ego, seems to be running rampant, may have appeal to people who've lost control of their lives. He went on to continue. He says, I don't think anybody really wants to understand cannibalism because then they'd be spooked. I think they want to vicariously imagine it. There's a part of people that may identify with the cannibal even while they get to feel superior to him because they never do anything like that. We go into our shadow side of ourselves, and it kind of leaks out in different ways, like obsessive news coverage every time somebody eats somebody's face. You know, it's all over, you know, zombies, you know, cannibalism, while stories of madmen feasting on human flesh hold perverse allure. The reality of cannibalism is rarely so pathological. There's a author, her name's Carol Travis Hennicoff. She authored it's called Dinner with a Cannibal. She spent 7 years researching the topic. She says, when I first began, I thought, oh God, how could we do that? And then started asking, why do we do that? What she found was that civilization is rife with the practice of humans feasting on one another. And that is rarely born of psychosis. There are all kinds of token cannibalism on a global scale. She says the average cannibals are not sick at all. There's nothing wrong with their brains. They're perfectly sane people, though I do have to tend to disagree with her on that. So what drives a person to eat human flesh? Well, there are the harrowing tales of starvation-driven cannibalism cannibalism, like with the Donner Party or the Andes flight disaster of 1972. I mean, if you're starving, the hunger needs to be satiated. The main thing that living cell doesn't want to do is die. But there's also numerous cases of societies that have practiced it ritualistically or medicinally. Cannibalism has traditionally been used as a form of asserting power all over the planet, like in tribes where when one chief disposes another and he has to eat his predecessor's eyes. She goes on to note that in many parts of the world, cannibalism has been in the cultures for hundreds of years. It was practiced in Europe through the Middle Ages, all the way up to the late 1800s. It started when mummies were sent to Europe from Egypt, and it was rumored it was good for your health. People got chews, I guess, I mean, whatever, their cute human meat wrapped in parchment. Cannibalism can also be downright loving. This is what she says, not me. It's long been the means of honoring the dead within tribes as part of a mourning practice. Although our human fear of and aversion to cannibalism, there's always been the practice of it. And there's something in that duality that reveals our unique place in the food chain. We are predators and we are prey. Animals eat animals. It's been that way since it started. Our ancestors were prey to many animals. There's a natural fear of being attacked by any other creature and consumed somewhere in our brains. Yet there's also an understanding of them. She points out something quite interesting, that we have a language in terms of consumption, of what eating us and what we sink our teeth into and whom we consume. And if you're Catholic, consuming the body and blood of Christ is something, if you want to look at it, as spiritual cannibalism. Gruesome crimes of recent days are horrible. Of course, we have those. The evils that drive a person to attack and kill and defile another human being make for sensational stories on the evening news and movies because they're so unique. But our fascination with the idea of partaking in human flesh goes far beyond front page stories of the most extreme violent crimes. It speaks to our basic fears of the loss of self, of our most desperate carnivorous drives in most extreme circumstances, and even of our most primitive need for union, to become one with the grieved for loved one or a powerful warrior or a vanquished enemy. I mean, the headlines, stories of sociopathic cannibals disgust us and it sickens us, yet we keep watching them anyways. We keep going to the movies, and I know for a fact a lot of people couldn't get enough of the Jeffrey Dahmer story. That alone is, cold, disgusting, evil. Hollywood has an obsession with cannibalism. Netflix had that show about cannibalism. We have Silence of the Lambs. I think I mentioned that earlier. And some famous cannibals are, again, Jeffrey Dahmer, Issel Sakawa, Alfred Packer. And there's one that we talked about back during the pandemic. I'm going to play a video for you. This was taken off of it was a Twitter account. It was Twitter back then, but an X account of Madonna during the pandemic. I don't know if you guys followed, but there was something going on with the Hollywood stars during the pandemic. it was like they were losing their minds. And a lot of people speculated that it was because they, the pipeline or the supply for that liquid or that stuff that they needed, had dried up because of the travel bans. So a lot of them were looking, literally, they were looking like hell. Ellen DeGeneres being one, Tom Hanks, a lot of them. But here's a video I'm going to put up of Madonna. And again, this was taken directly off of her Twitter account during the pandemic. Take a listen and we'll talk about it.
Come on, go. Let's go eat some fried fish. Fried fish. Come on, Vogue on go. Let's go eat some fried fish. Fried fish. 'Cause there's no more pasta. Oh no. Let's go eat some fried fish. Fried fish. Yeah.
So at the time, I knew there was something about it. Again, we were talking about how these stars looked, how they were looking pretty rough. So I did a little bit of digging, and I found out that there was a cannibal. A cannibal, what do I say, mass murderer, I guess you would call him. And his name was Albert Fish. And Albert Fish was born in 1870. He died in 1936. He was an American serial killer, rapist, child molester, and cannibal who committed at least 3 child murders between July of 1924 and June of 1928. He was also known as the Gray Man, the Werewolf of Wisteria, the Brooklyn Vampire, the Moon Maniac, and the Boogeyman. He was suspected of at least 10 murders during his lifetime, although he only confessed to 3 murders that police were able to trace to him. He also confessed to stabbing at least 2 other people. So why would Madonna be singing about fried fish? I still believe that's what she was talking about. I believe that's what she was referring to. I believe that she was putting out there to her fellow people that she wasn't doing well. Let me see if I can find. I know I have it. And I apologize. Sometimes I think I know the direction I'm going to go in with the show, and then sometimes things pop up that I want to show, but I don't have it ready. But let me. I don't know if I posted it on my Facebook. Let me just check real quick. No, I didn't. Okay. Let me send it to myself real quick and I'll pull it up on our screen. Let's take me just a second. Ellen DeGeneres, and I'm going to tell you, I've been having a lot of problems with my phone lately. And it's been kind of weird. This morning I went to make a video about what I found pertaining to the show tonight. And I tried to make a video for Deb, but when I got done, it came up as an error. Okay, see, I know I have that picture on my phone. Okay. So the picture I'm looking for to reference, no, it's not that bad, far back, is the one with Ellen DeGeneres And she's got what looks to be Wilson from the Castaway movie. Do you remember with Tom Hanks? Now, Tom Hanks is, we talked about this back 2016 again. The Hanks code, how his Twitter was just kind of weird, very dark, sick. His son, actually, Chet, is Tom Hanks' son. He actually admits to consuming human flesh. Go check that one out. That was quite interesting. Let me see. I don't know how to how to look for this. Ellen DeGeneres Wilson on her shirt. I guess, maybe. Images. Okay, yeah. All right, let's pull this up. So, back again, when all of this was happening, okay, she, let me see if I can, here we go. Let's get out of this one. Remove that. Okay. So back when, again, we were talking about the pandemic, she put this picture up. Oh, looks like he had it too. But anyways, on her shirt, I don't know if you can see it. But it kind of resembles the volleyball, was it? On the Castaway movie with Tom Hanks. Which I thought was quite interesting. Also, it resembles, hold on a second, again, I apologize. I wasn't planning on pulling these things up. But seeing that we're doing it, let's see if I can find this one. Yep, here we go. This is the one I was looking for. Let's wait for it to come up, and I'll pull it up for us. It also looks like this. Lady Gaga. Do you guys remember when she was dressed in this crazy outfit? Right here. Just a crazy, crazy outfit. It reminds me of that as well. Oops, you're not seeing it, are you? Oh, there it is. There you go. This crazy outfit right here. Right. And not to mention that, the color red. Well, what do we have with that we know would go along with this? Well, we would have the Red Shoe Club. These guys with the red shoes. And that goes along with Podesta as well. He's got pictures in his home of children showing them wearing red shoes. If you guys don't know what the Red Shoe Club is, I would research it if I read it. But yes, it goes right along with that. All right. So what brought us to this live stream tonight? Oh, yeah, Lone Gaga's meat suit. Exactly. Hideous meat suit. Yes. So what brought us to here tonight? Okay, so yesterday, I'm sitting downstairs with Dave. We're in the family room. We're watching some TV, well, YouTube or Netflix, one of the two. We don't have like regular TV. We have a Roku, so whatever we can find on that. And I'm going through my phone, and I came across a post pertaining to Epstein's chef. His name is Adam Perry. Well, Adam Perry Lane. Do I have a picture of him? I don't. Let me see if I can find a picture of him. I don't know why I didn't have. Oh, you know what? It's because it's on my Facebook. Oh, no, it's not on my Facebook. Anyways, let's do this. EPST. Epstein chef. Okay, so Epstein's chef. Okay, now this we do have the file that goes along with it. Let's take a look. So this is Epstein's chef. Okay, his name is Adam Perry Lang. All right. He was Epstein's private chef. He then left to become the head chef at a restaurant called The Cannibal in New York City. Okay. From May to November 2012, he was Epstein's chef. And this is from Francis Derby to, I don't know who, it was from October 3rd of 2012, and the subject was jerky. Now, if you've been following along with the Epstein files, you know that jerky is code word for what, okay? And it says, just wanted to touch base about jerky. J.E., which would be Jeffrey Epstein, said he was gonna start eating regular food again, so he might be eating less jerky. That said, he has 6 bags of it in the downstairs freezer for his next trip. I believe it should be enough to get him through. Any questions, please let me know. Thank you, Francis. And we know that so Francis is a male because of the way of the spelling. It's I-S, which is a male spelling of Francis. So this is a male. Why would somebody need, first off, does jerky need to be frozen to keep it? I thought it would be dehydrated, and if they, vacuum sealed it, why is it in the freezer? That was my first thought. Secondly, who the hell needs 6 bags to quote unquote get you through? What the heck? All right. So I did a little bit of digging, as I do. And I came across, oh, that's not it. Oh, yeah, it is. The Cannibal, the Cannibal Liquor House. So what could have possibly shaken me So I'm sitting there and I'm reading this, okay? I'm reading this. And I come across, oops, hold on a second. That's not what I wanted. I came across, hold on. I'm going to remove this. Okay. I came across something in the reviews, okay? Again, if you've been following us for any length of time, you know that when we talk about, but when we talk about the elite and how they are cannibals, okay, they refer to human meat as long pig or long pork. All right. And that is because reportedly human flesh tastes like pork. Take a listen.
Taste like pork. Here's why that's terrifying. In survival cannibalism cases throughout history, people described human flesh as tasting like pork or veal. Wild part? Your diet actually changes how you taste. Vegetarians reportedly taste sweeter, while heavy meat eaters taste more gamey. You literally are what you eat.
Okay. With that being said, I'm going to show you what I came across. This is a review for the Cannibal, New York City Cannibal restaurant, the one that Epstein's chef went on to become head chef at. Okay. Give me just a second here. Let me get to it so I can read it out to you guys. The cannibal is a carnivore's idea of heaven. The restaurant's dishes are meat heavy with a focus on pork. I just about fell off my chair. I dropped my phone in my lap. I put my hands to my face and I said, "Oh dear God." Dave says, "What's wrong?" And I said, "Do you remember when, we had these conversations and I said about long pork and long pig?" And then I read him this. Yeah. The cannibal is a carnivore's idea of heaven. The restaurant's dishes are meat heavy with a focus on pork. Now, this restaurant isn't just a normal restaurant. This restaurant is a butcher shop restaurant, which means all of their meats are butchered in-house. I don't know the name of it, but I know there is 2 movies that have been on recently, maybe within the last 3 years, 4 years, 2 years, something like that, talking about a restaurant that serves human flesh. They're even coming out with a, let's say, it's a vegetarian, this sounds really weird, but it's a, hold on a second, let me put it on the screen for us. This is this is real. Okay. No. This comes from, hold on a second. I think it's the medical, I don't know, whatever. It says, chef creates burgers that taste like human flesh. James Tomlinson's burgers made of veal, pork, chicken livers, and marrow. It's the Maccabee's snack was inspired by zombie show The Walking Dead. Burgers will be given away for free at a secret London pop-up food stall. It says, is this 100%? Yeah. Chef who has created burgers that taste like human flesh using first-hand accounts of cannibalism to get the flavor as close as possible. How do you put an ad up on Craigslist and says, "Attention all cannibals, can I interview you? I'd like to know your opinion on this that I make." I don't know how you would even start that up in a conversation. Apparently he did. James Tomlinson designed his burgers using gory testimonials describing the taste of human flesh, mixing veal, chicken, livers, bone marrow, and pork to make this meal. Again, pork. The chef, working in partnership with fellow food creative Miss Cakehead, will be giving away the controversial cannibal burgers at a secret pop-up restaurant in East London to mark the forthcoming 5th series of the TV hit show The Walking Dead. When was this? This was in 2014. Okay. Just want to, James Tomlinson designed his burger using, yes, we did that. Okay. My food is inspired by flavor combinations and fresh produce. So it was a little odd to be inspired by the words of cannibals instead He told the website Horror Talk. The burgers, again, were inspired by The Walking Dead. Without ever having tasted human meat, Mr. Tomlinson, who runs culinary company London Mess, researched accounts of cannibalism, including 1920s New York Times journalist James Seabrook, who had persuaded a medical student to give him a chunk of flesh from a man who had died in an accident. This is what they look like. One brave food taster takes a bite of Mr. Tomlinson's controversial burger. This is him. I don't know why you would even want to make that, but hey. Do you remember Anthony Bourdain? He's the chef that supposedly committed suicide. I don't believe Anthony Bourdain killed himself. Him and his girlfriend were on the verge of releasing some information that they knew. Again, pertaining to this topic that people are just they're so shocked that that what is contained in the Epstein files. I'm telling you for years what's in the files. Y'all thought I was crazy. I'm telling you for freaking years what was in those files. And I think this guy, Anthony Bourdain, was about to do it too. But he, so if you know anything about Anthony Bourdain, you know that he is infamous for his outspoken viewpoints on food, other celebrity chefs, and life in general. So it should probably come as no surprise that Anthony publicly admitted he would eat human flesh if he had to. But we'll get back to that in a moment. Over the past weekend, Bourdain, this was in 2012. Over the past weekend, Bourdain was featured guest at Brooklyn's Great Googa Mooga Festival, where he shared his opinions with a large food-loving crowd regarding a variety of topics. Here's a brief highlight reel. How does Anthony Bourdain feel about the quality of... okay, never mind. We don't want to know about pasta. So how did we start talking about cannibalism then? Well, when an audience member had the opportunity to propose a question to Bourdain, naturally he wanted to know if he and Bourdain were ever trapped in a cave, would Bourdain wind up eating him? Would Anthony ever eat human? The answer, a resounding yes. Yes, I fucking would. Pardon my French, not me, it's him. So now I would like to propose a question, Ms. Bourdain. If you were ever trapped in a cave, with Paula Deen, would you eat her too? Just food for thought. He actually did go on to eat a piece of meat from a tribe. He was somewhere, I don't know, but he and I'm not going to show you. There's a video of it. And there's also a reporter out there who, one second. Where'd it go? I had it pulled up. That one I did. Give me a second. Oh, that's weird. Hold on. Yeah, right here. I knew I had it. Stop screen share. Outrage. Religious scholar and TV host Reza Aslan has landed himself in hot water after an episode of his new program, Believer, depicted him eating the brain of a deceased human in a spiritual ritual. The act of cannibalism has drawn a massive backlash from the Hindu community, as many suggesting the Argur tribe that part of the episode followed represented a very extreme and unconventional sect of the religion rejected by many within the faith. But he did, he ate human too. Now, I found an interesting article. In just a second here. before I go to that one. You guys remember this woman, right? Abramovich, remember her? Spirit cooking. Yeah, spirit cooking. Remember Lady Gaga? Yeah. Remember, they have to tell us things. They have to foreshadow what they're doing. They have to tell us. And that is just, if you follow that the whole time, back in 16, that was something that we actually got an inside view. And those are the pictures that Jeff Lehman had sent me a file with all kinds from the spirit cooking parties that they had, all kinds of pictures. And they were gone when I went to pull them up. And they're gone on his computer too. I don't know. But I found an article, and I'm not going to show the article, only because I don't like the image that it's got up here. But it says doctor. There's a doctor. His name is. Let me see if I can pronounce this. Dr. Karl Krusnelnicki. And this was for a Great Moments in Science article. It was dated April 17th, 2017. And he puts forth the question, why isn't cannibalism more common? He says, lots of animals do cannibalism. I mean, humans have been doing it for nearly 1 million years. And yet this might be, it doesn't make any sense. Compared to other animals of the same size, we are not that nutritious. Until the early 20th century, eating various bits of the human body, including flesh, bone, blood, and even the various types of moss that grow in human skulls, was widely accepted and approved medical therapy. Flesh from a mummified body was thought to be an excellent remedy for bruising. Powdered mummy, known as mumia, was still included in the Merck Index of Chemicals until the early 1900s. There is, as well, pretty good evidence of our distant predecessors practicing cannibalism back in Spain. In popular culture, you might remember the fairy tale children of Hansel and Gretel, in which the evil witch fattens the children up to eat them. Cannibalism has been well documented over the last few centuries, and it happens to be in most parts of the world, not just in so-called primitive or tribal societies. So we have these images from ancient times of depicting the giants that were eating the humans. And we know that the Nephilim were told in the book of Enoch also feasted on the humans. Okay. So this isn't something that is new. This isn't something that we're just now, oh my gosh, it's a revelation through the Epstein files. Oh my God, people are eating other people. No, it's not new at all. All right, it's not. The problem with it is that there is a disease known as Kuru, which completely drives you mad. And if you eat too much human flesh, that's what you get. Now, Kuru is it's rare, but it's fatal. It's incurable, and it's a brain disorder caused by an infectious protein, a prion. Prevalent in the 1950s and 60s among the 4 people in Papua New Guinea, it's transmitted through ritualistic cannibalism of infected brain tissue. Disease, which translates to trembling or shaking, is characterized by progressive tremors, loss of coordination, and rapid fatality, usually within 1 year. The symptoms, again, are balance problems, followed by tremors, involuntary movements, dementia, and emotional changes. No cure. So once you got it, you got it. So that's one of the problems with the consumption, or one of the problems, I guess, of consumption of human meat. So back throughout the years, and I'm just gonna throw my Facebook up here for a moment. Yes, I play games. Yes, they send me stuff. So that's what you see, the messages. Back, I think it was last year, 2024 or 2025. So 2 years ago, Roseanne Barr was on Tucker Carlson. And she told people they eat babies. She did. She said that. She said they eat babies. But people called her crazy. Let me hold up. I might be able to find it. Here it is. Listen.
You know they eat babies. That is not bullshit. It's true.
So it's not just the dogs and the cats, not just the pets.
It's not just the dogs and the cats. They're full on vampires. And everybody still thinks I'm crazy, but I'm not crazy. They're full on vampires. They love the taste of human flesh and they drink human blood. They do tell by the
No, Roseanne, we don't think you're crazy. I never did. That woman speaks a lot of truth. Let me tell you that. But she's not the only one who was speaking out against these people. Corey Feldman was talking out about pedophilia. He was talking out about the elite. What did they do? They said he was crazy too. Dan Schneider from Nickelodeon. People tried to tell us about his disgusting behavior. What did we do? We thought those kids were crazy. We didn't listen to the kids. You should always listen to the kids. Kids don't usually lie. Corey Haim. Corey Haim ended up killing himself because of the psychological torture that he went through at the hands of Martin Sheen. We just thought he was an addict. When I say we, I meant as a collective, thought that he was just an addict. He was somebody who struggled with mental health. Yeah, he was, because of that. We had people like one second. Yeah. Well, let's put this one up here. Do you remember growing up in the 80s and 90s and missing children were posted on milk cartons? At the same time, celebrities were doing ads on TV and magazines with milk mustaches, quoting, "Got milk?" Yeah. Is it clicking for you yet? It should be. And you got people like Rose McGowan. She risked everything to tell us what was happening. And she was silenced. The public was gaslit into thinking these people were mentally ill. Shanae O'Connor, when she shredded the picture of the Pope on Saturday Night Live, she tried to tell us. What were we gaslit into thinking? She was mentally ill. Do you all still think these people are mentally ill? Or do you think they were onto something? Do you think they were telling us the truth? I'm going to read this article, this post to you. Epstein Files, 2026, cannibalism, ritualistic sacrifice, and jerky claims explode. Why Gabriel Rico Jimenez 2009 rant is back with terrifying weight. The DOJ dropped 3.5 million pages of Epstein Files in January 2026. Buried inside are cannibals, and the full story is darker and more complicated than the viral posts suggest. On August 3rd, 2009, a sobbing 21-year-old Mexican model named Gabriela Rico Jimenez stood outside a Monterey hotel and screamed into the news camera that she had just escaped an elite gathering where they ate humans, people who smell like human flesh, and named billionaires, presidents, and royalty as her captors before police detained her and she vanished from the public view forever. 17 years later, a newly unredacted Jeffrey Epstein file contained an FBI interview with an anonymous man who claimed he witnessed babies being dismembered, their intestines removed, and individuals eating the feces from these intestines on Epstein's yacht, alongside 52 references to cannibal and 6 of cannibalism throughout the documents. Claims investigators dismissed without corroborating evidence, just as Gabriella was dismissed as mentally ill before disappearing. And in the same dark ecosystem where these elites alleged consumed flesh and trafficked children, Brazilian Johan Teixeira de Faria, known as John of God, built a global following through his spiritual surgery centers where he sexually abused hundreds of women on his baby farm while being celebrated by international celebrities like Oprah, proving that the pipeline of power, perdition, and protection spans continents and decades, with Gabriella's screams as the most haunting soundtrack. And here's where the border bleeds into the story. Fort Bliss whistleblower Richard Halliday was murdered in July of 2020 for exposing the very cartel trafficking networks that feed this pipeline. The Department of Defense confirmed in January of 2025 that he was killed in the line of duty in retaliation for his exposure of military cartel collusion. His family has evidence. I've seen it. I've seen this evidence. His family has evidence that his body was dismembered and trapped across the border to Mexico, where his remains were likely disposed in the narco crematorium in Juarez, the same facility where over 100 decomposing bodies were later found stacked, rat-infested conditions, and where families were given jars of construction materials and animal bones passed off as human ashes. Gabriella screamed it in 2009. They ate humans. Carlos Slim knew. The Queen of England knew. Hollywood knew. Politicians knew. The bankers knew. Our Department of Justice right now knows. The person who redacted these files knows. And yet, I don't think one person's going to come to justice. Not one.
Crew really appreciated the pizza today. This is from a guy named Roy Hodges to Jeffrey Epstein.
Welcome to Watch Mojo. And today we're breaking down some of the most explosively viral terms that have appeared in the latest Epstein Files drop and what they do and don't mean.
We want to be deceived. We don't want to believe the horrors that are actually behind the veil.
Party with a dozen one-year-olds.
Outrage growing as new details emerge from the millions of newly released Justice Department records on convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein.
Few phrases from the Epstein Files release sounded stranger or spread faster than the claim that the documents described, quote, a party with a dozen one-year-olds. On social media, cropped screenshots made it appear as though investigators had uncovered documentation of an infant gathering tied directly to Epstein. The reality was bizarre, but in a different way. The wording came from a 2014 email sent to Epstein by literary agent John Brockman. In the message, he described organizing a dinner party with, quote, a dozen beautiful girls, and in a separate thought, mentioned having recently attended a birthday celebration for 1-year-olds. Online posts blended those unrelated lines together, transforming two separate references into one alarming scenario.
What are you, class 3 sexual predator?
Tier 1.
What's tier 1's the highest and worst?
No, I'm
the lowest.
I'm the lowest.
You're the lowest. Okay, tier 1, you're the lowest. But a criminal.
Yes.
Snopes reviewed the full context and concluded that the viral claim misrepresented the email. There was no documented event involving toddlers at Epstein's home. Still, the odd juxtaposition of glamorous social language and a reference to infants was enough to ignite imaginations.
The devil himself said, I'm going to exchange some dollars for your child's life.
Do you think you're the devil himself?
No, but I do have a good mirror.
It's a serious question.
Sorry.
Do you think you're the devil himself?
I don't know. Why would you say that?
Cream cheese.
Now, another code word that's come up that people think is very creepy is cream cheese. This one is dark. All right. This is an r/conspiracy. We're going to join. Said, lol, I don't know if cream cheese and baby are on the same level. It's okay. There's still enough time today. I'm trying to schedule priming for 5:30. Fuel explosion for 9:45 p.m. We'll bring a new engine startup video.
The phrase cream cheese began circulating after users highlighted an email included in released Epstein-related materials that mentioned, quote, cream cheese, alongside references to, quote, babies. In particular, an Epstein email stating that, quote, there are millions of babies, very little good vegetable cream cheese, raised eyebrows en masse. The viral interpretation suggested the pairing of those words could not be innocent.
Milk needs baby juices mixed in to ferment the cheese, not like those expensive coffee beans that are pooped out by squirrels or some animal. If you're interested, dig into the history of how cannibalism went from sustenance to primitive religion, then to organized religion. It's symbolic for the regular people. Now the Holy Communion is totally unrelated.
However, the email in question didn't contain explicit references to abuse, trafficking, or ritual activity. Nor did prosecutors ever identify, quote, cream cheese as operational terminology in Epstein's case. What fueled the speculation was ambiguity. Private correspondence using casual or unclear language, stripped of full conversational context. Without supporting testimony or hard evidence showing there was intent behind it, turning unusual wording into proof of a secret code just doesn't hold up.
I'm going to be that guy, or does anyone else feel like this food code stuff is well poisoning? You didn't post the rest of the email where he mentions a specific deli to get veggie cream cheese. A morbid joke, sure, but I feel like they're trying to send us down the wrong rabbit holes. People saying, I agree with you, it's either well poisoning or delusional confirmation bias. This is clearly a discussion about being able to source a vegetarian cream cheese, but the people who are starved for actual evidence are jumping to every conclusion they can.
Pizza isn't even the most frequently mentioned food in the Epstein files, but more on that a bit later. Sushi appears more than 1,200 times. Pasta shows up over 400 times. Ice cream is referenced nearly 600 times. Those numbers have fueled speculation that food language must carry hidden meaning. But frequency alone does not establish a code. It establishes repetition.
Another email read, this is better than a Chinese cookie. See attached. Let's go for pizza and grape soda again. This one talks about, yeah, that's the pizza. You mean radiating a soft glow with the look of bliss and excitement. There's one more, I think, in this list as well. Sorry, I have no stomach for even the slightest aggro. I don't have the stomach for it for any drama, imaginary or real. I'm still fragile off the last one and scared of shadows.
An Epstein employee in Florida told the FBI that Epstein liked getting ice cream from a local shop with the girls. In a 2014 email, LinkedIn founder Reid Hoffman told Epstein he had sent ice cream to his Manhattan home, suggesting it could be shared, quote, for the girls. That same year, Epstein requested sushi and Oreo ice cream for a meeting with banker Ariane de Rothschild and Kissinger Associates executive Joshua Cooper Ramo. Quote, Oreo ice cream appears dozens of times in the files.
Some blank redacted writes to Epstein, ice cream Oreo for blank for Paris. Should we send it with you to Palm Beach? So this blank is sending Oreo ice cream all the way to Palm Beach to Epstein so it could be sent for someone to Paris.
Jerky.
There's another one here. Have you seen the beef jerky mentions as well? There's an email here from Jeffrey Epstein. Someone else says, Francis has time to come tomorrow to show me how to make it. Jerky, anyone? He will also bring you a taste of his jerky recipe from the restaurant. and sends a warm hello. He's working at a restaurant called Cook's. Wait for it, beef jerky and steak.
Jerky became one of the more unexpected viral talking points after users noticed it appeared hundreds of times in released Epstein-related files, roughly 380 mentions in total. One frequently cited example is a 2013 email from LinkedIn co-founder Reid Hoffman to Epstein, in which Hoffman wrote that, quote, beef jerky was one of, quote, many threads for our next call, alongside topics like, quote, planes, quote, charity, and, quote, mapping orthogonal dimensions.
Another one here is Jeffrey Epstein sending it to Steve Hansen saying, hope you're feeling better. Did we analyze the beef? Did we analyze the jerky? Now there's talks about jerky, referencing human meat. It could be for scientific research, could be something else that's even sicker.
Online theorists seized on the repetition of the word, with some suggesting it was coded language for cannibalism. However, the files also contain extensive jerky-related correspondence from chef Francis Derby, identified in the documents as Epstein's private cook.
Time now for the fresh grocer, Tony Tantillo, and today it's Tony's Table. He's taking us to Cannibal Restaurant in Culver City. Francis Derby is the executive chef, and he's showing us how to make his special pork tostada.
Derby suggested preparing, storing, and transporting large quantities of jerky to Little St. James, suggesting the volume of references reflects a dietary preference rather than encrypted messaging. Trump's calendar girls' parties.
In a 2017 email to former Treasury Secretary Larry Summers, Epstein writing, I have met some very bad people, none as bad as Trump, not one decent cell in his body, so yes, dangerous. In a 2018 text to an unidentified person, Epstein writes, I am the one who can take him down.
Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein moved in overlapping social circles during the 1990s and early 2000s, particularly in Palm Beach and New York. President Trump publicly acknowledged knowing Epstein and was quoted in a 2002 New York Magazine profile discussing him socially. In recent file releases, a document briefly posted and then removed by the Department of Justice referenced unverified allegations involving, quote, calendar girl parties at Mar-a-Lago.
And instead of inviting hordes of people, instead of having a big long list of VIPs, Trump only invited one other human being to attend this party with him. So it's Trump, the women, and one other person. And that one other person was none other than Jeffrey Epstein himself.
Reporting noted that the specific claim lacked supporting evidence and wasn't part of any criminal charge against Epstein. That didn't stop viral conspiracy theories from spreading like wildfire, largely owing to the DOJ's decision to take the document down without explanation.
We knew that Donald Trump and Epstein were friends, right? We had that interview from New York Magazine back in 2002 where Trump famously said, quote, I've known Jeff for 15 years. Terrific guy. He's a lot of fun to be with. It is even said that he likes beautiful women as much as I do, and many of them are on the younger side. No doubt about it. Jeffrey enjoys his social life, right?
Cannibalism and ritual sacrifice.
The first shocking piece of evidence is the name of Epstein's bank account, which goes by the name Baal, the demon that the Bible mentions that demanded human sacrifice. The document states, please wire $11,438 from the above account to Baal, name Wachovia Bank, NA. A very weird title to call your bank account, but given the fact that these are child monsters and children were sacrificed to this demon, it makes sense.
When millions of pages tied to Jeffrey Epstein's investigations were released, one of the most explosive claims to spread online was that the files proved cannibalism and ritual sacrifice. Viral posts highlighted that the words, quote, cannibal and, quote, cannibalism appeared in the documents, presenting that fact as confirmation of something far darker than the already documented crimes. While those words do appear in the massive release, they surface in the context of interviews and unverified allegations, not confirmed investigative conclusions. In particular, some of the claims stemmed from an anonymous account given to authorities that described extreme abuse, which included ritualistic elements.
Stephen Colbert did a little skit on his show where, oh, here's a baby. I'm going to take this baby and I'm going to give it to Moloch. And he goes into like a cloudy red, furnace and hands the baby over. And he's, oh, the baby's going to be fine. And they make a joke about it and the audience laughs. Okay, we're all now conditioned to it.
However, these statements were not corroborated with evidence, nor were they reflected in federal indictments. The presence of disturbing language in a sprawling investigative archive does not on its own establish proof of cannibalism or ritual murder.
No, this is clearly a code. Well, that was the thing about Pizzagate.
It's absolutely a code. And in fact, mundus vult decipi, ergo decipiatur. It's a long known concept. And so in Latin, mundus vult decepi means the world wants to be deceived. Ergo decipiatur, therefore it is.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos.
All right, I thought it would be easier to let that video run to show you the files that have been released so far. So, yeah. Yeah, I hope people are putting together hope you're putting together the dots. Hope you're connecting the dots. Because these people are sick and this has been happening. I'm replaying like all of the shows that I've done over the past just decade, talking about the rituals, the dates, the documents, the people that, you know, the eyewitnesses, just all of that stuff. And again, like I said at the top of the show, this is just something that I wish I wasn't right about. But regardless, it's happening. It's true. So what do we do? Where do we go from here? What steps do we take to rectify this, to stop this? I don't know. I do know, and I'm going to repeat myself from our last show, I do know one thing. That the separation between left and right and Republican and Democrat is by design. They need to keep us divided. They need to keep us distracted. They need to keep us keep our attention away from them. These files draw a lot of attention to them. Attention that they don't want. Believe me, they don't want this. I believe that something big is coming to take the focus off of this. And it has to be big. I mean, literally has to be big. Like Iran in a nuke, or I don't know, an attack on the U.S. I don't know. Something big, though. Something big has to happen to take the focus away from these. Blue beam. Yeah, blue beam. Aliens is back in the news. You know, full disclosure. I think it has to be big. A lot of people are reporting weird things happening, weird noises in the sky, weird things happening. Here in Illinois, I just watched a video of a woman. She lives downstate. Actually, she lives mid-state. She made a video asking people if they were hearing the same thing. It was like a rumble sound. I asked her, she never answered me back, but I asked her, I was like, do you feel it on your feet? Do you feel it like in your chest? You know, that kind of rumble? She never answered me back, but I read the comments and a lot of people in that area knew what she was talking about. Trumpets in the sky, the trumpets are back. Okay. Lights, just crazy lights in the sky. Just a lot of things are lining up for disclosure. I want to reiterate something to you guys. Aliens are not real. They are not extraterrestrial. extraterrestrial. Extraterrestrial means extra land. Extraterrestrials are interdimensional beings. They're not from some distant galaxy. They're from right here. I do believe that the governments of the world have been working with these entities since the very beginning of time. The former defense minister of Canada in 2012 put out a video, or they put out a video where he went before their Congress or whatever, their parliament, and said that there are X number of species, and they are working with the governments of the world. His name was Paul Hellyer, Hellyer. Look him up. Paul Hellyer. He was the former defense minister of Canada. Publicly admitted that these entities are working with the governments of the world. U.S. President, his granddaughter, was Eisenhower, right? Was said to have made a deal with these entities. We don't really know what the deal was, but a lot of people speculate that it was that we allow them to take a certain amount of people every year, and we, in exchange, they give us technology. Phil Schneider. Phil Schneider talked about the entities underneath Dulce Air Force Base in New Mexico. He actually had a gunfight with one, a firefight with one. He was hit in the chest and he lost, what, 2 fingers? CERN admits that they are opening up dimensions, that entities are coming through. Book of Revelation tells us that soon the abyss, the bottomless pit, will be opening up. There has never been a time where we have needed to armor up. If you do not have a personal relationship with Jesus Christ, you need to get one. Pick up that Bible. Start reading it. Pray for discernment. Pray for the Holy Spirit to show you the truth. Pray to have an understanding of the Word of God. Because I'll tell you something, it's the only thing that's going to save you. Jesus Christ is the only way to have salvation, to have hope beyond the grave. That's all I got for you tonight. I hope that you will hug your family a little closer, your children especially. And tonight, when you tuck your babies into bed, say a prayer for those babies that don't know the comfort or the love of a mommy or a daddy. That the ones that are being bred to feed these monsters. There's a special place in hell for anybody who harms a child. There are certain things that God hates, and one of those things that he hates is the shedding of innocent blood. I love you guys. I will see you on Sunday night. Until then, remember, eyes open, no fear.